well-awaited demo day where we'll be having two of TDeFi's incubated projects with CashFi and DeFin doing their demo. We're actually also going to have two amazing projects in HXRO and PokeSwap/Sora. The CEO of Sora will be on to talk about PokeSwap and to talk about the Sora ecosystem. And we also have some scheduled times for some other pitch projects that may be coming in last minute. But we are live now for Finance.Vote for the keynote speaker spot. So why don't you try turning on your webcam now, Nick? Should be working.
Still getting unable to start video on my own.
Okay, if the production team could please fix Nick's issue. He's trying to start his webcam, or tell me that you already did that.
Okay, good. We're in.
There we go. Awesome. And are you able to share your screen for the presentation as well?
Right. Don't think so yet.
Bottom middle, there might be a share screen option.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, awesome. Yeah, we can see it. All right, take it away, Nick.
Okay. Hi, guys. Thanks for having us on. Okay, cool. So we're Finance.Vote, and I'm going to give you a quick presentation, try and leave plenty of time for us to have a chat at the end. So I think we're still trying to find our exact sort of narrative on exactly what it is we're trying to aim for at the moment, which is a weird thing to say, but we're converging on a decentralized organization for building consensus apps for DeFi. So we're doing quite a bit of stuff. My background is in physics, and in recent years I've been working on token economics a lot. So we're obsessed on DeFi and building the sort of what we think is the next generation of governance in the space. So where I think the next wave of DeFi will happen is when we start plugging humans more effectively into blockchains. So the voting that happens on DeFi at the moment, it's largely cornered by small number of token holders. They're practically multi-sigs. It's not really social consensus yet. So that's what we're trying to build, is to build this DeFi ecosystem, build a DAO around the participants as they're using the voting technology that we're building. So really, this is all about voting technology. It's all about upgrading the way that we interact with these smart contracts, getting people more involved in monetary policy decisions. I would say we've got three core design pillars that are forming at the moment. We've got a huge package of work on prediction and market discovery. So our core product at launch is a prediction market. So we're a prediction market based on future value of tokens, but we put a different switch on it, which I'll go into in a little bit. We're super interested in auction theory and building auction systems, and we've built and launched our token on a completely novel auction system. And the consensus tools that we're building will allow a kind of collaborative asset basketing that we're interested in. The next sort of phase, starts in about 6 months, is what we're calling second layer governance. And what we're doing here is building mini DAOs, we call them, which are like DAOs for projects, even if they've not got DAOs, or if they're, even like projects like Bitcoin will have a mini DAO. And that will allow people to sort of coalesce around these blockchains and talk about what it is they want those blockchains to do in the future, reach consensus on what it is, the direction they want that to go. We're working on AMA technologies. So one of our implementations of our quadratic voting system is to sort questions, sort content. So we're calling this social curation. So really it's all about when you blow the sort of walls off organizations, what happens when you can build an organization with infinite scale on the internet? And that's the kind of future that we're looking at. Final component is we're very much a DeFi product. We're going where the people who use crypto at the moment are the people interacting with DeFi smart contracts. They're at the cutting edge of adoption in the crypto space. So we're going to make a fun, gamified experience for them. We're going to do collaborative trading. We've got a really wacky take on liquidity mining, and you'll be able to stake on people's predictions of the future. So we're building what we call consensus apps, and these are decentralized applications for reaching agreement on financial decisions. So at the moment, everyone's basically using snapshot.page, but we think there's a load more you can do on meeting price discovery and monetary policy with voting decisions. So that includes price discovery stuff, market predictions, forming proposals is the big thing. At the moment, there's about 5 people who make DeFi proposals, and everyone just votes for them. So what we're trying to do is get that much more participatory, and we do that through token-weighted voting. So we're going to start with a bit of background story. I'm a physicist by background. I've spent the last 20 years in academia. I've been training people to teach for about 10 or 15 years, and I've been designing governance systems for big and large institutions. All the last 5 or 6 years, I've been completely obsessed on crypto. I used to teach number theory and cryptography, and I've just been deep in the rabbit hole and realized that the solution to massive organizations is voting on the blockchain. So this story really started, I met Chris, my CTO, where all good crypto parties start as in a party in Ibiza, sort of crypto party in Ibiza, which is pretty cool. And we just basically been talking about voting tech for the last 2 years. And it was when we met Naomi, who's our head of product, as an amazing designer and branding specialist, and another core team with Louis here, who's essentially I met, was trying to put plants and DNA on the blockchain in a permanent way, and he needed a governance system for it. And Nick here, who wrote one of the BIPs for Bitcoin. And we just formed this core team, been waiting to go, and we pulled the trigger about 2 months ago. So essentially we started in about 3rd of September. Idea's been cooking up for a long, long time. But since then, we've shipped 2 products, our vote markets and auction.vote, which is about where we're at now. We're about to launch our kind of new twist on yield farming. And we're going to sort of trend towards a kind of launch pad for tokens. So the story sort of start of September. It's about 9 weeks ago. It feels like a long time now, but we did a pitch in Carmadale. We raised 1.4 million within a week, and a few days later, I handed my notice in as an academic, and we've just been full time on making this stuff. So our core products at the moment is what we call vote markets. Now, there's a lot of prediction market stuff emerging at the moment. Most of them are built on the assumption that people are good at predicting price, and they're generally not. So there might be the number of people who can actually do technical analysis to the point where they can predict the future is vanishingly small. So we've built a game which basically just asks people to order tokens in preference. Which do you think is going to be the most highest gaining token? It doesn't expect users to be able to do technical analysis. And instead of it's on market order rather than price, right? So we give you a token list and you decide what order you think it's going to be in. And you're not all in one token. You can hedge your bets because we're using quadratic voting. So this has got a lot of potential. We're targeting these new token curation point where there's 100 new shitcoins a day hitting Uniswap. Most of it scams and trash. What we're going to pay people to go right down to the token source and sort out the good ones. And the idea is that we call it turning degens into alpha. So we're going to get our users to filter the token markets. At the moment, it's free to play, it just costs gas, and you win a share of a reward pool. But sooner or later, we're going to turn on a staking mechanism, which we think solves some of the problems with liquidity on prediction markets, because we're using a kind of our own version of a AMM, which is uses liquidity pool token economics to get rid of order books on prediction markets. Our other products, we actually launched, we were going to launch on a bonding curve, didn't find one we liked, so we built our own auction system to do it. And this is a kind of decentralized crypto auction. We've realized this can go into a million directions. What we used it for was collecting ether to bootstrap our Uniswap market. So we wanted to non-custodially collect some ether and then push it to Uniswap, which is what we did with that. And it's all about price discovery. So the mechanism we used here, we called it an exponential token auction. We can sell tokens on there, NFTs. We're pretty sure we can find the price of anything in a decentralized way with this. We used this about 2 weeks ago now. Our auction of our token lasted about 7.5 hours. We raised 850 ETH, which is now in our liquidity pool on the exchange. We're forming some strong partnerships, meaningful ones, people we actually want to collaborate with. And we've got a growing community, which we're doing some interesting governance formation stuff with. So where we're at now, we're just about to launch our yield farming contract. So we think we're solving some of the issues that everyone seems to find with liquidity mining at the moment. It's a huge boom in liquidity where everyone's soaking up the utility tokens, then they all just disappear when the token incentives end. So we're plugging governance decisions into how those things progress over time. It's highly gamified. LPs are going to have to compete for slots. And it's all governed by our token holders, which is going to be interesting. We essentially found that we did a load of these AMA things in the run up to our launch. It's a pretty weird experience. We think we can do a lot better. We're going to curate questions in a way that our token holders can earn money by getting really good questions up to the top. But it's going to be a really competitive environment where people are really challenging projects with good questions, and that's going to form part of our mini DAO project. So we're almost like the Google Apps ecosystem for DeFi. We've got 4 projects that we'll have out pretty much by January, and each of these apps can stitch together to kind of form almost like a kickstarting mechanism for projects. So there's a huge amount of value creation happening at the moment. The gates are open, no exchanges, anyone can launch a token, 99% of it's awful. What we're doing is trying to create these value capture mechanisms, which seeks out those good projects and really filters the good ones to the top. And all of this sort of ecosystem is going to be governed by our token holders. The token itself, we use it to start with. You can't play in our system unless you have a decentralized identity. So we use NFTs to give you an identity. That's what the token's used for at the moment. All of that staking and token weighted voting comes later. It'll give you access to auctions. At the moment, we found a listing price of 2 cents, which is what we listed at. We've dropped since then, but essentially our market cap's tiny, about 500,000, fully diluted at 6.2. And we're live and trading, and now we're in the process of really bootstrapping our economy and getting adoption. That's where we're at. I'm happy to take any questions. If anyone's watching wants to get in touch with me, you can hit me up on Twitter or Telegram on that handle. Thanks very much, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. That was really good. So I think in terms of timing, we have some available time. I think we're just looking across the social channels right now to see if there's any specific questions that we can feed back to you. So guys, if you can maybe, I'm just talking to our production team, the production team can maybe put together some specific questions that are coming in, and we can feed them over to you. I guess in the meantime, tell us a little bit about, so you mentioned you did the raise pretty recently. Where are you at right now? Have you actually TGE'd yet? Sorry, I apologize.
Yeah, we TGE'd on the 18th of November.
Gotcha.
I might be able to show you what, so this is what yeah, we raised fairly recently, but we've not slept much, and we've shipped 2 products. Yeah. So we've got 2 live working products with utility. We wanted to make sure that our token actually did something before we launched, which is a bit radical, but this is our vote markets. We've been running for about a month. Gotcha. You can see what we've got is users voting on these tokens, which sort of orders them in this preference. Mm-hmm. And then the users that win. So in this one, users projected YFI to win that week. So they whole market, weaker market action. 53 votes hit YFI. Everyone shares 100,000 FVT, 100,000 of our tokens. So very 53 of these tokens get split apart. And there might be someone who's voted up to 10 on that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, our vote market's alive. Our auction system looks a bit like this. So this was our auction system we launched. We did our TGE on this. You can see all the buy orders coming in here, and that went on for about 7-8 hours. So yeah, we're TGE'd live, 2 working products, and we're going to be shipping 2 more, we think, in the next probably 6 to 8 weeks.
Nice. So where's the most traction right now? Is it in these kind of like, I don't want to say spread betting, but it kind of has a feel of that, right?
It's I mean, it gets called spread betting, and it sort of is. What you can do, we call them quadratic options, because instead of having to pick up or down, for example, you can spread your bets, if you like, across number of tokens.
Gotcha.
So you get a budget of voice credits, which you can sort of apportion across all the tokens if you want. But what you're doing is weighting your bets across each of the token. So you can go all in on one, or you can have lots of votes across multiple tokens, but you're essentially declaring your bias by picking one. So the goal is to basically aggregate all this into the collective intelligence on the market.
Okay, cool. So in essence, there's a number of these, what you've described as ballots, and it's kind of really just taking a bit of an educated kind of investment strategy against which asset will perform better over a period of time, pretty much, right?
Precisely, yeah. So we call it semantic ballot voting. Give you a list of 10 tokens, and you basically order them in your preference or your perceived likelihood of it performing in the future. Gotcha.
And these are weekly, or is there different times? Do you sort of like
Sunday close to Sunday close every week? So we've got a vote window open and a market window open at any time.
David.
Oh, what's the matter?
We had a bet with PlotX earlier. Are we about to start getting some airdrop bets going down?
We can do that if you want. I mean, we're slightly different. So I think PlotX are more of a sort of binary options platform. So it sort of implies it's more about price. We're more about fundamentals, I guess. So the principle being that over time, the market should trend towards fundamentals. So what if you bet on fundamentals based on your preference of this working over time, you're more likely to price in. Now, the kicker on this is that we give you some voting power, some voice credits, as in the quadratic voting terms. If you're right, we give you more of them. So essentially, the vote power trends towards the people who can predict the market correctly.
Gotcha.
So the people with the most voting power are the people who are most correct about the markets, and that will transition into our decisions on governance decisions and all that sort of stuff.
Interesting. And is there rewards? Sorry, I missed that bit. Was there rewards associated to getting these kind of? Okay.
So there's a reward pool. The network generates a pot of money which is shared across the people betting in this system.
You did say that, yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
So we burn tokens on the way in. In order to get access to this, you need to mint an identity, which you do here. It's an auction, and then that burns tokens. So the FVT you're buying burns the tokens on the way in.
Okay.
And it mints some tokens that's used as rewards. So ultimately, the users will control that monetary policy on the inflation deflation rate.
Gotcha. And you need tokens in your wallet to be able to basically interact with this whole ecosystem. Yeah.
You need to buy one of our identities, and once you're in, that gets you into our governance system, gets you into our token gated chats, gives you a free bet on this every week.
Gotcha.
Eventually, you'll be able to sort of power it up with tokens, but for now, it's pretty much just paper trading almost.
I get you. So we do have some questions from the community. Let's get on with that if we may.
Sure.
So first question up. How do you plan on capturing markets from existing players like Polymarket for prediction? I guess you could specify them, but I mean any other similar type of projects.
We've almost reinvented prediction markets. It would prediction markets. You can ask any question. Will Donald Trump be president or whatever? NBA, and we found that sort of spreads liquidity. If you look at Augur, the top 3 markets were Trump, Trump, and Trump this year, and everything else is pretty much dry.
Yeah.
So we're focusing the intention onto markets. We don't have open questions yet.
Okay.
We're very much specifically focused on crypto and crypto market ordering. So we're kind of a different utility to those. I'm very bullish on prediction markets. I think they're really important for governance systems. But we're slightly different to those other projects, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess in certain, information is power, right? So I guess just having this interaction, you're finding out really, you're doing the Facebook, right? You're really finding out what's interesting, what people are really thinking.
Exactly.
So information is fed back in.
We're paying people to declare their interest to us. But the other thing is the users will get better at understanding the markets the more they play it.
Yeah, it's very true.
It makes you focus on the markets, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so I mean, this is a bit of a generic question, and I guess you kind of have answered this, but if there's any other, like if you want to, maybe look at extending this or thinking of additional kind of thesis on this, but how are you looking to bring users on your platform at the moment, and how are you, I guess, planning on keeping them there?
Yeah, it's a good question. So our token economics is about 20 pages long, and it's one of the biggest criticisms we've got at the moment is that it's so bloody complicated. But there's a lot in there that will make sense over time. One of which is we call vote mining. So like Uniswap did that airdrop. Anyone who transacted with a Uniswap contract got a flat rate.
Yeah.
We've got this thing where you are paid for voting over time. So we've got incentivized voting, which will last like 5 years.
Okay.
But the first big airdrop's in 6 months, and it will backdate an airdrop to everyone who's voted proportional to the amount that they voted. So if you vote in our markets every week, we incentivize early adoption through our token economics, essentially. But the principle is that these tokens and the whole emission, like over 50 to 60% of the emission, will end up in token holders' hands through various activity. So it's all through mechanism design, incentive alignment. We pay people basically to participate through various mechanisms.
All right, nice. So we haven't got long, so I want to just crash through these questions, make sure we get them all out.
Sure.
How do you plan on scaling your product? I mean, you've mentioned it there again. I don't know if you want to add on to that at all.
Yeah, scaling. I mean, depends what you mean by scaling. In terms of like blowing it up in terms of market traction, network effect, we're actually going to animate our users to do that for us. So we're going to pay our users to go and spread the word. But we're also looking at scaling solutions for our vote markets as well in terms of getting the transaction costs down.
Yeah, well, I guess scaling is multifaceted, as you mentioned there. Yeah. So I think you mentioned early on about seeing how the interaction with the community works, and then obviously from there you can kind of build functionality as well. So yeah,
so it's a big part of what we're trying to do. We call them citizens. If you've got one of our NFTs, you'll be able to vote on the direction of our product. So they'll tangibly steer the direction of the project from day one, really.
Right. I think I know the answer to this, but someone asked, will each product have its own token? I think you're planning on just keeping the one, right? Possibly for now.
We're very much in the game of funneling all the value we can into the FVT economy. Yeah. It will only do. I mean, it's become vogue in DeFi. So, like, I think Cronier's got about 4 or 5 tokens.
Yeah.
But we're pretty much all in FVT for the time being.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure you can necessarily use Andre as a general rule of thumb, but to be fair. So, I mean, I missed this, but I think you said you were an ERC20. Is that right?
That's right. ERC20. We're all in Ethereum at the moment.
And you looking to sort of create your own mainnet at some point to keep gas fees? Yeah. Okay.
We are. So we've got big plans for that, and we're just we want to stay as blockchain agnostic as possible. Yeah. But we're definitely exploring the interchain space, and we're looking at scaling in that area, definitely. So we'll want our own block space at some point when we get the adoption.
Gotcha. It makes sense with scalability and with issues with Ethereum. Okay, Nick, that's great. I mean, we literally have like 30 seconds, so we really want to first off thank you for sharing this. I think it's fascinating. I didn't know too much about you before, but I feel like I have a much better grasp of what you're offering now. And I genuinely think like maybe I missed the boat a little bit in terms of the investment, but from a interaction perspective, I'm definitely going to check you out. I'm sure Matt will too. I think just maybe with the remaining time we've got, is there any kind of things you want to sort of like just announce? If you've got any kind of breaking news or anything, or just generally things you want to share to the community?
I mean, the main message is you haven't missed the boat, actually. So we rather than this kind of huge lift off on, because we did this auction, we found a fair price for our auction, which people didn't like. They like this huge blow up on launch. We're actually trading at pre-sale prices right now.
Gotcha.
So no one's missed out at this point.
Okay, well, that's a great finishing point, guys. No one's missed out. It's time to get in. Thanks again for your time. Let's end it there. And yeah, we wish you all the best. Hopefully we'll catch up with you another time.
Let's keep in
touch. Yeah, I really appreciate you coming on. All right. Yeah. Now that was exciting. If the production team could please switch over to the final 15-minute Q&A for B21. Nick, if you want to hang around, more than welcome to. If not, then I'll see you soon.
Do some daddy duty stuff now, but
yeah.
But cheers, guys.